Yo, what up guys, we're here back again with another one. This time we got AI influencers are getting filthy rich. Let's build one, let's go. Alright, ready? Let's go. Say goodnight, roses in the chat. Bam!
Allow me to introduce you to Aitana. She's an Instagram model from Barcelona who's been going viral, but she's also just like totally chill and down to earth. She's into fitness and video games, and yeah, if you're wondering, she does have additional photos on our subscription tier, which brings in about 10 grand per month. Before you sign up though, there's one thing I need to disclose, and it really shouldn't matter unless you're some kind of bigot, technophobic Nazi, but she's not a biological female. She is a woman, but entirely artificial. It is November 29th, 2020.
Say goodnight. Say goodnight. How many people are gonna be making like multiple of these? They're gonna have like 10, 50. They're gonna have 100, dude.
23, and
I just saw like a wild bot farm, and the guy had like 500 accounts running inside of a room full of TV panels. Like, imagine that, but with this instead.
We're watching the Code Report. By the end of this video, you'll know how to build your own army of AI influencers entirely for free using open source generative image models like Stable Diffusion XL and checkpoints like Juggernaut that can produce highly realistic images. The first generative adversarial networks appeared about 10 years ago, and at first could only produce
I have no idea what he just said, but
tiny images that you could barely make out. But now anyone can produce high-resolution realistic images good enough to trick sad lonely men into buying the NSFW content. It's extremely sad and depressing that the agency behind this thing is making a six-figure income, especially during the sacred month of No Nut November. Content like this is rotting the brains of billions of men around the world. Although they are doing a 50% off sale right now, so it does look like a pretty good value actually. Luckily, 95% of this channel is comprised of high-value alpha males, which means
is that real? Is that real? Really a thing?
We don't need to consume content like that. Instead, we reverse engineer it so we can exploit it for financial gain. There are many tools out there that can help you become an AI PIMP, like you might be familiar with Midjourney and Dolly from OpenAI, but these are paid closed-source products that also contain a bunch of unwanted safety layers. Luckily, there's a great open source ecosystem around generative AI.
Yeah, I messed around with one of these before. It takes up a lot of space on your computer, you know, and it takes up a lot of memory on your computer. It's kind of hard. I don't know how they get them to come out so HD. Like, all of mine came out super broken. I'll probably slap some here on the screen so you guys can see. All right, let's go.
The most well-known base model is Stable Diffusion XL, which was released in late July 2023. Gigantic models like this take an absurd amount of computing power, but luckily it's possible to fine-tune them by creating what's called a checkpoint using some additional specialized training data. Now, you don't have to worry about this part because people have already created a bunch of different checkpoints, which you can find on websites like Civet AI, some of which are highly optimized for photorealism. Now, the next part of the puzzle is finding a UI where we can actually work with these models without having to write any code. The most well-known option is the Stable Diffusion Web UI. It's an incredibly powerful tool, but might be a little overwhelming for a beginner. There's just a lot of different buttons to push. Another cool option is Comfy UI, which has a drag and drop editor that works kind of like Blender or
I was just gonna say that looks like Blender.
This video is Focus or Focus, and I'll explain why I like it in just a minute. You'll notice all these AI UIs look very similar, and that's because they're based on another open source project called Gradio. And an interesting side note is that Gradio builds the front end with Svelte. Pretty cool, but let's get started. Check out the install instructions, but basically all you do is clone the repo, create a virtual environment for Python, and install the packages. Once that's done, you run this Python script, which will then automatically download the default models in the background. These files are multiple gigabytes large, so it may take a while. The base model is Juggernaut XL, which is based on Stable Diffusion and works pretty well for realistic images. You now have the power at your fingertips to prompt out any image you can imagine. The thing I like about Focus is that in many ways it feels similar to Midjourney, but it's free and the UI is way more intuitive. I'm running it with a modest NVIDIA 3070, and it usually takes about 45 seconds to generate 2 quality images. What's really cool though is that if you click on the Advanced tab, you'll get options for performance.
We're doing this. We're doing this.
Ratio and the number of images, but there's also a tab for style, and we can mix and match these different styles to get far different results, like this retro video game style, or maybe an anime style. But in order to generate our AI influencer, I'm going to go with the default settings along with Focus Photograph, create a prompt that's highly specific, and add some imperfections like rough.
Hold up. We're gonna run it. Okay. I don't know how to run this right now, but we'll figure it out.
Rough skin, no makeup, etc. to make it more realistic. And now our influencer is born. Now let's go ahead and save this as our base image, then create a new.
Yo, that looks so crazy. I wonder how many, like, where do you find these AI generated accounts on Instagram? Like, where, like, dude, imagine like finding like a collection of them.
Prompt and check the box for input image. Drop the base image here to blend multiple images and text together. Now click on the advanced box below the image to fine tune the way the image is blended. In this case, we'll go.
I want to see who has the most realistic one that you can't
for the gram. But
you know, I want to find the person with the most realistic poppin' account. If you guys know about these accounts, just drop them in the comments so I can make a video on it.
Most importantly, we have pretty good continuity between the faces, and the hands almost look totally realistic. But when you have imperfections, you can go back to the image prompt, but this time go to in paint or out paint, and then paint across the parts that are messed up. Tell it what you want to fix, then it will regenerate those parts of the image. Congratulations, you just built your own artificial influencer. You did it! But photos are only the beginning. Yesterday, Pika Labs released an insane video demoing their text-to-video platform. It's close. No
way! Dude, okay. I gotta get all of this and then work on a music video or something. You know, work on
source, but luckily Stability AI just
work on stock. Dude, you can make all the stock footage you want with this.
Introduced Stable Diffusion video last week, and I can only imagine what kind of depraved content you guys will use that for. This has been the Code Report. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.
What? If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the subscribe button, say goodnight, drop some roses in the chat, and make an entire series on this. Hit the subscribe button. Peace.